Hello and welcome to Woke Watch, and this will be a largely improvised video because today I was planning to record my review of the new Barbie movie, which I've seen. And if you're wondering why me, a middle-aged man, would go to the cinema to watch that film, well, it's 2 hours of Margot Robbie. But as I was preparing to leave, I was scrolling through my phone and I saw an article so woke, I've decided to talk about that instead. A big part of being woke is being obsessed with gender identity and pronouns, provided you can always paint yourself as the victim. And today I'll be talking about being gender non-binary, and I confess this is just something I don't understand. As far as I'm concerned, and science is concerned, there are only two sexes, or as we used to call it, two genders, before a million got invented. There's male and female, aside from a handful of people who are intersex, what we used to call hermaphrodites, who were born with both sets of reproductive organs. And incidentally, intersex people never get involved in this woke shit. So to be non-binary, these are people who don't feel they are either male or female. Maybe to them, neither label fits, or they are both at the same time. And for some people, this can change on an almost hourly basis. Yet, there are effeminate boys, there are masculine girls. Sometimes my behaviour could be defined as stereotypically feminine. That doesn't make me think at that moment I'm part female, because importantly, none of us have any frame of reference other than ourselves. I don't know if any other man on earth feels or experiences emotions the way that I do. But I do know I've got a cock and bollocks, so I'm not a woman. The article I read was about a British woman called Sally, who uses they them pronouns, and I apologise in advance, I will be saying she her because I cannot be bothered to do the mental gymnastics. Back in 2018, she took the stunning and brave decision to come out to some of her friends that she is non-binary. And apparently her friends were so supportive of her, they came up with a game. Every time they referred to Sally as she or her rather than they or them, they either had to give Sally a compliment or pay her money. I'm calling bullshit. And I say that because if I had a friend who was tapping me for cash every time I addressed them, in a way that didn't fit 100% with their worldview at that exact fucking moment, they wouldn't be my friend for long. And also, if I'd done the interview with Sally, I think I would have asked, so you're friends then? Are they here with us now? Is it only you that can see or hear them? But tragedy struck a few years later when Sally came out as non-binary at her place of work. When one of the male directors, of course it was a man, I bet he's white, heterosexual and uses racial slurs when he's watching the football, refused to address her using the pronouns they and them, saying she's a woman so she and her will have to do, and that non-binary people don't exist. Now that's very harsh and rather cruel, but also, sadly, it's the truth. Many woke people just need a dose of fucking reality. And another important aspect of being woke is using hypocrisy and double standards at a simply mind-blowing level. Coming up is a clip of a non-binary person explaining the rules which, because they apply them to their lives, we all have to live by.
Hey, real quick, if you're a cisgender ally, can I please ask you to do something on behalf of the community? When asked what your pronouns are, please do not say, oh, you know, whatever's fine, just use whatever pronouns. For those of us who use pronouns that are extremely hard to get everyone else to use correctly, it's annoying and it feels belittling, at least to me. There's a reason we ask folks to pay attention to pronouns. It's to recognize our gender identities and to show respect for who we are and not how you perceive us to be. If you are a cisgender person, just say you use he, him, his, just say you use she, her, hers. That's great. That's fine. If anyone actually called you he or she, and that's not in alignment with your cisgender identity, you would be upset. You would be upset. It would bother you, which would honestly probably give you some more empathy for us. I know you mean well. I know you're trying to show that you're cool with it and that it doesn't matter and you accept everybody. So the best way to do that is just use your right pronouns and then use ours as well. Okay? Thank you. Love you. Appreciate you. See you next time.
First up, once again, there's that term cisgendered. Now, I reject that term. I'm not a cis man. I'm a man. I'm male. I'll even take biological man, but not cis, because that term has been weaponized by toxic trans activists, usually to use against women. And also the term cisgendered was coined by a German sexologist who advocated for paedophilia. I don't want anything about me connected to some kraut nonce. Then it goes on to talk about gender identity, their gender expression. So once again, we have to respect their pronouns to fit in with their distorted view of reality, because that person is a woman, whether she likes it or fucking not. But then finally, if you're a cis ally, use the correct pronouns. I can only use he, him, his. Women can only use she, her, hers. So it's all right for them to make shit up and move the goalposts constantly, but we have to stay in our own fucking lanes lest we are causing some sort of fucking genocide. This is akin to playing a board game with someone and asking, what are the rules? And your opponent saying, I'm not going to tell you the rules, but you have to stick to them. Also, I can change the rules whenever it suits me. And if you don't go along with it, you are a bigot and I am a victim. Next up, there's a short clip of a school teacher, because those woke fuckers cannot leave children alone, explaining being pronoun fluid.
What is pronoun fluid? So I have a student and their pronouns change. Some day they are they, them. Other days he is he, him. Other days she is she, her. Their pronouns are fluid. Not everyone that is non-binary has fluid pronouns. I always go by he, him, for example.
Let's start with the obvious. That is a woman who uses he, him pronouns. A woman who's a teacher. She, sorry to say it, should not be educating anyone if she doesn't know what she is. And having a student with fluid pronouns. Now, I'm not a parent myself, but if you have a child who is constantly crying because one day they think they're a boy, the next they think they're a girl, and the next they think they are both and or neither, either that child needs more attention, love and affection, or a fucking good slap around the face. It won't stop them crying, but at least we'll know what they're crying about. Of course, saying there are people who are pronoun fluid doesn't prove anything. It could all be made up. It could be some part of a sick joke. But sadly, no. I have another clip coming up, which will be playing silently because I've had to mute it due to copyright. We can all see the person in this upcoming clip is a girl. Be aware, these fuckers walk among us. How is anyone meant to keep up with that? When a person is changing their pronouns whenever they see fit, and if that individual was employing the same tactic as our friend Sally, tapping people for money every time they use the wrong pronoun, that's a teenage girl who could be fucking retired. And that's before we get to the weirdness that is neo-pronouns. I've touched on these before, but these aren't he, her, she, his, not even they, them, or ze, zer. These are people whose pronouns are made up of fucking anything. Now, on TikTok, there's a lady called Lesbian Snow White, and she is the absolute queen of neo-pronouns. Prepare for the most confusing 45 seconds of your sodding life.
How to use Starburst, Lauren, Lorax pronouns, Rar, Rar's pronouns, Mingle, Mingles, Beep, Boop, Jas, Jasper, Bites pronouns, Rocks pronouns, Pup, Pups pronouns, Lila, Lila, Thing, Things, Maple, Maples, Hummingbird pronouns, Me, Ma pronouns, Apple, Bouquet, Bouquets pronouns and sentences, Lily, tulip pronoun, pop, poppy pronouns, sun, sunshine, perform. Today I'm going to show you how to use spring, spring's pronouns, and buttercup, buttercup's pronouns, butterfly, butterfly's pronouns, ha-ha's pronouns, equality pronouns, pit, pit's pronouns, he-ha's pronouns, bloom, bloom's pronouns, normal, forever, forever's pronouns, dear, dear's pronouns, and heart's pronouns, and use warmth, warmth, rose, rose's pronouns, dove, dove's pronouns, and sweet's pronouns, and teddy, teddy's pronouns, and sentences.
I honestly don't believe that any sane person would engage in that level of bullshit. Because most of us are used to he, him, she, her. In fact, I'll go as far as to say, if someone introduced themselves to me and said, my pronouns are, that is the end of the conversation. That person will do nothing to enrich my life and I will just make fun of them. It's mutually beneficial if I just fuck off. But if anything can be a pronoun, leaf, twig, cloud, sky, dog shit. Well, all of these videos, they always come with an explanation on how to use the pronouns. So I'll do my own. So for the purpose of this video, my pronouns are fuck, fucker, and fuck self. And here is how you would use them. Fuck woke up and fucker was still tired, so fuck went to get a coffee. But fucker didn't go to Costa because fuck is boycotting them because they're promoting transgender mutilation on young girls. But once fuck self had fuck's coffee, fuck felt much better about fuck self. That still makes more sense than most of this non-binary crap. But what would be even simpler is if someone just referred to me as Danny, or Dan, or Daniel, I don't mind which. It's very rare I talk about myself in the third person, but if I did, I would use my name. When I talk about myself now, I'm doing just that. I use I, me, myself. This isn't overly confusing. I said at the start of this video, I don't understand what it is to be gender non-binary. For me, there's male and female, and that cannot be changed. No one can actually change their sex. Chromosomes don't get altered. But if you're watching this and you are non-binary, I implore you, please try to educate me. Write something in the comments, but do so in a way that isn't narcissistic or self-aggrandizing or paints yourself as the eternally oppressed, because sadly, for the vast majority of us, reality looks one way. For you, it looks somewhat different. And I guess part of my confusion is that to be non-binary is sadly based on a lie. No one is male and female, or neither. We're one or the other. No matter if that person believes their truth, as it were. It's no different to me saying, I have a full head of flowing long golden hair. Even if I believe it, it doesn't make it fucking true. As ever, thanks for watching.